You didn't make it back to the chair in time.
Usually I'm good at this.
It's Friday night, guys, and once again we're back at it. It's an entertaining day.
Yeah,
Very entertaining.
It's been a fun day.
It's like we've been out fishing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, that's an inside joke that one day we'll tell a tale of. But anyway, getting back to it. It's Friday. It's been an interesting week. We're going into a holiday week, and I can sense that's already some of the holiday spirit of like just being goofy on Friday sometimes.
Yeah. It's Friday.
Fridays can be a little goofy at times.
But they're fun.
Are they?
I don't think so. Most
We
Fridays.
can talk about your old retail days. But anyway, what we're going to be talking about is you tell them what we're going to be talking about. I'm not going to talk. You do more. You shoot from the hip here, Carrie. What are we talking about today?
Yeah. So today we're talking about the bill, City of Yes, that just passed.
The City of Yes.
Yeah. City of Yes.
Can you believe that in New York?
I can.
There's a lot of no's, not many yeses. And maybe some people may find this to be one of those things like the City of Yes has been a controversial topic, right? And it deals with you. Kelly's like she's like
I gotta fix my chair. It's okay.
Yeah, fix it.
It's just. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Sorry, guys.
So anyway, with the City of Yes, it's a controversial topic about basically housing affordability and what the city is doing to address the future of development. It's funny because in 2005, I was part of the growth management task force, which looks to reduce building, and now we knee-jerk backwards. And some of the things that even I had proposed in that new plan didn't make it. Some of the things I discussed there are in this plan, and it's kind of interesting because I went through it. Yeah, there was proposals that I had put forth, and one of the things was this town center, and there was some consensus back then that, and I'll probably get. Speaking of which, we did not come on. I don't know why it's not shot. Oh, here we go. Did not come on. There we go. Why it's not shot. So,
there we are.
So you said we can go on, yeah. Carrie, this is my iPad. Moderate all to your house. So Carrie is now she's got the finger on the switch.
Try not to look at it, but
She doesn't have a choice now.
yeah.
Pay attention. I'll have to crack the whip. But anyway, the City of Yes basically is looking to address some concerns. I can't stand this of myself. Slow that so I don't comment. The City of Yes is basically what we're really going to look at is like some of the details in it, because I think for a lot of people, some people like the idea. Some people, it may bring additional income. And it's really about bringing affordability. Now, this is nothing here pertains to, I'm not giving like an endorsement of this in any means, any way. Daisy's on here. Hey, Daisy.
Hi, Daisy.
It's been a while. But the big thing is, there is a comment there. Is it? Sorry, guys. Hey, guys.
Hi, Daisy.
How's everything? Where were you? I saw something on Instagram. You were shopping today? You were out shopping. I know we're diverting a little bit back and forth, guys, so between screens. So my eyes are focused there. It's TikTok, here it's Facebook. But anyway, what we're going to be talking about is the details of this plan, because I don't think everybody's on board with it. But there are a lot of things that I like about it, and a lot of things that I don't one of the things I don't like in the most recent plan, before you get into the questions, is I was by Staten Island Hospital. Well, Staten Island University Hospital. And the way they, if it's designed anything the way they designed the parking around that building, it's something to be desired. Because you'd never understand the full impact of bureaucracy. And it's just, you park in the middle of the street now for a bike lane. Do you know about that?
Yes, I've seen that. That is crazy.
And I'm like, wait a minute, you gotta cross the street for the bike lane to get to the meet, to get to the hospital. And I'm like, this is wild stuff. And this is the thing that concerns me about dealing with bureaucracy in general. It's hard to imagine that we actually could put together a plan that actually will work across the board, because some of this stuff is, my son's on. See, Matthew was a devil.
Hi.
Hi, Matt. Anyway, but the big thing with so let's get into the details, because
yeah, sure.
I want to get on to the meat and potatoes.
Yes. Meat and potatoes.
That's the portion of the meal. Like, get rid of the salad. Now let's get this.
The main course.
It's the word salad.
The words.
I gotta stop word salad. Anyway.
Yeah, so I do have a couple of questions here that I want to.
What did she say? Somebody says.
Sorry, I forget that's there.
Oh, Donald Trump. Me and her. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Sorry, guys. There's questions. You have to pay attention to that.
Okay.
But you have to read the question too. Go ahead.
I will try to. What do you mean? Okay. Well, I do have questions to ask you anyway. So the first question I have is, how does the plan specifically address Staten Island's unique suburban and low density character?
The character.
How does the plan specifically address Staten Island's?
You're doing it like a. You said it like my English teacher would say it.
Your English. No.
No, we're kidding. But, so my biggest, the question basically, what does it do to the character of neighborhoods?
Yeah.
So under the plan, basically what it's going to do is take low density lots and allow more building square footage to be allotted to the construction of additional units of housing on a particular property. I can't get the lights to go off. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Sorry that you can't get your engine light off. You don't fix cars.
In that position.
You're gonna have to go to a mechanic. But the big thing is, it's going to take low density housing, and then they're going to add some additional square footage to the floor, there's a ratio between open land and building square footage, and that's going to be lowered depending on the zone itself. Will be lowered to accommodate more housing, which can be to some people a little bit concerning, because it does do a couple of things as far as parking is concerned. But we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into the next phase of this. There you go.
There we go. It's so fun.
Should go into that. You're going to be interrupted. We're trying some new things. Lower the temperature a little bit.
Yes. So the next question I have for you is, what measures are in place to ensure that infrastructure can handle the increased population from new developments?
Okay, so basically under this plan, the plan is mapped out commercial corridors, basically C1, C2, C12 zones. And what's going to happen is basically in these particular zones where there's existing transportation infrastructure, which basically falls under this higher density housing, mixed use development. It's going to allow these particular places to be built upward, up to 4 stories high, above. And I'm going to say this is where I do endorse the plan, because this is a problem. I think in a lot of low density commercial areas, especially on Staten Island, these are not walkable communities. And what happens is the type of way it's set up is that it requires a lot more parking to be on the street, because and they don't get the foot traffic a lot of these smaller places like Annandale and maybe Great Kills, where foot traffic would be beneficial to accommodate more foot traffic to the commercial areas. And one of the things is Staten Island's changed so much that a lot of parts aren't as walkable as it can be. And also south, which I was in agreement with. I do think at certain points there's places that definitely have at least a train station nearby and can easily accommodate foot traffic, and I think it's going to be beneficial to stores. I do think that whatever little additional traffic there is, I mean, there is some things about how to deal with parking. Some places do have municipal parking lots. Many of these commercial town centers do it, like Newdorp has a municipal parking lot, Great Kills has a municipal parking lot. Those parking lots are generally empty, which is part of the problem. There isn't enough demand there where people want to pay for parking. It's just, so I do think that the development of this may, kind of like how 86th Street is in Brooklyn. You get a lot of people like, anyway, I don't know what that is. So basically, sorry, we're dealing with it. We get some questions here as time goes on. I don't know. So, yeah, we got to take a moment here just to look at the questions. But anyway, what we're basically looking at is increased density in commercial areas. So I do think you will get these developments or the increased living square footage in places that already has a decent enough infrastructure. Staten Island, for the most part, is not endorsed. Most of the people here have not endorsed the plan. It's not gone well. It's not gone over well. But there are some aspects that are actually decent. And I think unnecessary as far as, there are some places where it's like we're just too spread out, and some places that are not dense enough. You have to, I hate to say this, guys, at some point, taxes either have to continuously go up because obviously things cost more. So either your taxes go up or you're going to have to find some places to put new residents to add to the tax base. So I know it's like this thing. It's like, oh, we like things to stay the same. But this is not the worst thing in the world. I don't think from not every part of this. There are some things I have some issues with we'll get into later.
So are there plans to provide additional public services, such as schools, hospitals, to accommodate population growth?
No.
No?
That's the point. So I haven't seen anything yet, and I doubt it. I doubt that there'll be additional. I mean, you would think that would be part of the process, which is one of the things that hasn't been solved. There's been nothing in the proposals that have suggested that they could do anything more. But I do think we definitely have to look at that moving forward as part of. But the biggest problem is like college age kids that are like, where do they go? Like if they you don't want to be living with your parents for a stable life, right? So it's like, where can you find something affordable, right? And that's the big problem now.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. It's like, can I get a rent? Go get rent somewhere, work, not live home, and try to. I'm sure many people your age relate to that. Like, where do we go?
Yeah.
Because you can't buy a house, and rent is ridiculous.
Yep.
Right? It's like and that's a problem everywhere. There's a lot of reasons behind that. there are a lot of structural reasons why rents are so high, and a lot of it has to do with, and that's a very controversial subject, which I won't touch because it's too controversial.
Yeah.
There's too much artificial stimulus in housing that are coming from outside venues that are pumping, just like how college tuition works.
Mm-hmm.
When you give grants to go to school, but instead of the institution saying that's a subsidy, it's actually thrown on top of the cost. And this is why rents suck. And that's why it's like, okay, well, we're supposed to be subsidizing the cost of doing something, right?
Yeah.
So you get a subsidy, and the subsidy is to cover cost, but actually it's looked at as profit on top of that. That's a problem. And this is why I'm very big into you have to let the free market kind of work itself through, but that's a long story.
Yep. So the next question I have for you is about affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
How will the affordability requirements impact the types of housing available on Staten Island?
It's a supply-demand issue. I mean, overall, the affordability requirements. I believe it has to be 20% affordable in large developments. So basically, they have to take the income, the general household income, and I believe it needs to be within. Like there's a formula for 70% of for affordability. It's like 70%, correct? 20% of the housing, depending on 70%, like
earning 60%.
60%
of the
median
median
income for a household. So there's going to be a complicated formula for that. So it's really, look, I think the premise is right. This is where bureaucracy is getting in the way of, determining this is why these things go so long, okay? And people could, and I understand the need for affordability and things like that. One other thing that there's nothing that the government's touched in the last 30 years that's made anything affordable. And that's the problem. I'm sorry to say it, I'll call it for what it is. It's just not affordable because these ideas, and there's too many artificial factors involved in the process to let the market settle itself out. And you can't come up with all you have people who don't work, I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, but the people who don't work who get $2,500 rental assistance, which is, I'm not against rental assistance in cases, but that makes it very difficult to compete with somebody who's working full time and trying to make their payment, and that's more than the mortgage of my house. And they're getting that for nothing. So how do you think rents are going to go down? And this is the problem.
Yeah.
So someone's getting, and that's not to knock people who get this. The problem is that this is a lot of the reason why. Who comes up with the arbitrary numbers that are making this real or not? And the problem is that that's really what's causing the affordability crisis. So as far as apartment rents, if everybody was at zero, and nobody really had an advantage over somebody else, and that's not to say that zero is the number. I am expecting someone not to be subsidized housing is a necessity. To a certain degree it is. But to the degree that we're operating in, it's like, how is someone who's working full time, and then going up against someone who's not working and getting $3,000 subsidy for a house?
Yeah.
It's more than my mortgage. My entire mortgage, taxes, insurance, that's more than that. And then so you're not getting affordability because a lot of that is this is not a knock on but you have to, you got to shave things away to say why is there an affordability crisis? And a lot of people don't want to talk about it because yes, it's controversial because people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I can understand it. It's not anything having to do with, rich versus poor, whatever it may be. It really has to do with the fact that you can't create a market system that works to create artificially low housing prices. It's not worked. It's never worked. It has never worked. There has never been a subsidy thing that's ever worked. And because of the subsidies and housing, likely to do with a lot of, the economics of it's been proven. So, I mean, knock it all you like, you can't do it. You cannot make housing affordable when, there's so much subsidized housing that, or it not, at least to the degree that it is. I mean, these people are getting, there's some people who are getting as much as 110% of what a working person would get. And that's, how is someone going to compete against that?
Yeah.
And competition in the marketplace will keep prices down. So you don't get that. That's a lot of the issue here.
Yeah.
How is it if the affordability, they're going to make these criteria that's not going to work. I don't see it working. Mm-hmm. And that's something they're going to have to reevaluate later because like many of these programs have become just utter failures.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a concern for you guys, especially for Gen Z and Gen X to some degree.
Yeah.
You're pushing people further and further away.
Oh, sure.
It's like, you get the housing affordability, you have to go 70 miles south of here just to find something affordable, and that should be the case.
No, you're right. I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
So the next question I have for you is, are there mechanisms to ensure that affordable housing units are distributed equally across Staten Island?
No. The mechanisms of the things that are broken.
Yeah.
The whole mechanism, which I think I just elaborated on.
Yeah.
I don't want to redo that again, but the mechanisms is that it's never, these things have not worked. I mean, and it keeps, we're creating and my thing is that someone's really got to come out with numbers and see what the percentage of how many units of subsidized housing, affordable housing is going to make things affordable. More people are coming here for what reason? If the apartments weren't affordable for everybody involved, we would be dealing with a declining population. So if the question is affordability, yes, you're going to get more housing. Mm-hmm. But that in itself doesn't solve the problem because you could create an artificial market demand by, creating more subsidized housing. This is not a knock on subsidies. It's a knock on how it's managed. And the problem is it's not managed. It's not worked. And the economics of this is proven, not just in in the housing model, but in 3,000 other models. Why people complain about the cost of education being so high? Mm. Why? Because the subsidies involved. And every time there seems to be subsidies involved, prices seem to go up. This is what I mean about why things, but nobody ever wants to touch that. That's a controversial topic, I know. Nobody wants to touch it though. Nobody will ever say, I went a little bit further than I thought I would, but I'm saying it. The reason why is because you create, there's an artificial marketplace that's creating a very powerful demand side push. And that's going to keep increasing as long as that someone doesn't address that as being a concern to the affordable housing crisis. We're creating it through a lot of this funny money.
Funny money.
Funny money.
Sure.
You can't go up against unearned money. It's a tough battle.
Yep.
Tough battle to go against unearned money. It's not, can't expect people to work for 3 times. And it's just, I'm sorry I could rail about this for 2 days. Because it's not, the people who work every day can't compete for housing with people who don't. It's not to say that they don't have reasons. There's very reasons, but you can't have like a populace of 40% of the population or 30% of all renters being subsidized. It's not possible. We can't have that much of a dependent population that's gone, and These are artificial rates that are thought up on the back of a matchbook and said, oh, well, you know, arbitrary figures. This is what the average rent is. And how do you determine the average rent when 35% of the house is subsidized? But that's, guys, that's to go further than I'll get a letter after this.
Oh no. Well,
It's
the
okay.
next topic
okay.
of this.
It needs to be talked about. The stuff needs to be talked about. Because, you know, nobody will is here. Why is there affordability crisis? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even loans, you know? If the loans are harder to get. But people, you know, we deal with this in real estate all the time. And I'm going off the rails. Totally. She doesn't know how to wrangle me in yet. After her 25th birthday, she'll tell me to shut up.
Yeah, I'll be a little move on.
She'll feel the ability to like knock me down. Say, Anthony. Next question.
Next question. So now this is about zoning and development.
Uh-huh.
So a question I have for you is, which neighborhoods in Staten Island are most likely to see zoning changes, allowing mid-density developments or accessory dwelling units?
Those likely to be placed Annandale, Eltonville, Newdorp, probably Old Town, Oakwood, and then going right along the train corridors, specifically Newdorp. I think that Newdorp has one of the lower density commercial areas, probably the largest, besides St. George, which I think already has a good deal of it has a good mid-tier range of commercial mixed-use development. For places like Newdorp, Great Hills likely to see the biggest changes because the commercial corridors there are extremely low density, and we're talking about 4 stories above there, up to, depending on the size. Now that's going to be a boon for commercial real estate owners right now who hold commercial property. This is definitely going to accelerate home values. That's another piece of this, is that it's going to spur development, which that's not a bad thing. Because one of the biggest things is you want to see more housing units being developed, and at least this provides an avenue for it. Because one of the things that we don't have here is available land. Most of the available land now in Staten Island for development is out of zone or spot left to spot building. Very few developments there's not much property left for that. So the only way you could really develop Staten Island is in these places is build up, not out, which is something that I always agree with. We should be building up in certain places than out. And that's 95% of the traffic. There's an old YouTube video that I did something maybe about 10 years ago on this topic.
Oh yeah?
About building up and not out. Sprawl is really why you have traffic. Not so much, it's not just people, it's how it would spread out. Low density housing create traffic, considerable amounts, because they have to drive to public transportation.
Yep.
In order to go to the ferry, they have to go drive to a location where they could, get the train and then get on the train and then go. So it's it creates another traffic situation, which is maybe they don't have to travel as far with these parking rides, but they're still adding and contributing to the people on the road. But anyway, next thing.
How will the plan address community concerns about overdevelopment, especially in historically low density areas?
Yeah, it's going over. This whole plan is going over this is not going over well. Most Staten Islanders, I've lived here too many years, over 5 decades. And I actually, like I said earlier, I was on the task force for development, and that was the down zone, which for the most part, I agree with certain things like private streets, eliminating some of that, making them accessible. But the big problem was you got a lot of people who just once they got to Staten Island, they closed the door, and it's like nothing. There's nothing else after me. And yes, I don't think it doesn't think the real estate values. Some people think it preserves real estate values for what they are. I mean, you go to Brooklyn and say, well, it's higher density, and I don't think prices have come down much there. And that's why I say this is not a, because we're in a state that's seeing population decline. We're seeing more people leave the state than enter it. And my question is why is that? Why are we having a housing issue if we have declining population?
No.
I don't get it. Maybe upstate. I think that my thing is that there's not enough that goes into the studying of what's actually going on, and it's a problem. I think it's a. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I promise. Yes, that's so. Let me get some questions. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. So the big thing is, like I said, we have to look at housing in the next 10 years as being something that is going to be a challenge, and I think we need more data, and we need other input. I just think that there's too much. I think this kind of bureaucratic type of way of doing business here, and without getting some insights into what's really going on as far as numbers and data, how much of people are battling it out. Again, if we're losing it, we have a migration pattern that's leaving the city. Why are we having a housing issue? Another thing is we have low birth rates around the country. I mean, how much more demand do you think is going to have for housing if all these other contributing factors? And I hate to say, like I said it before, it's done in a knee-jerk fashion. And so if you're asking me if the plan is a good idea, I do think there's elements of the plan that are a good idea. And, not to keep this going, I'm sorry, 5:40, you only have to ask another question. So the big thing is, we'll forward after this. Because I just want to get to the part where I think the crux of the argument of this is not a well-conceived plan. The parking issues that I see in the plan are not there. Have you ever tried parking in Brooklyn?
I don't drive to Brooklyn.
That's right, you don't drive to Brooklyn.
No, I've never really there.
Is that in Park Manhattan? No.
No. I don't drive to the city, really.
Tom, you need to take her out around the city and make her drive and parallel park in the city a bit.
No, I definitely would check it out, though. For sure.
Yeah, you're a nervous driver. Have you been nervous with people in the car?
With people in the car, I do. With myself, I don't really care. Well, obviously I care, but it's more scary with somebody in the car. Yeah.
It's because
I get my driving. If I stop short, then that's okay, but
she has a list of criteria that she needs to go through in her own mind just to get it down the street if there's people in the car.
Yeah.
But,
I never parked in Brooklyn though, so.
I think you parked once. Yes, last year when we did the
yes, Diker Heights. I have drove to Brooklyn, but probably only to Diker Heights.
And then I had to drive you home.
Yeah.
With your car.
Yeah.
That's why I do. Yeah, she doesn't like driving with people in the car.
No. Yeah. But no, that was definitely stressful, looking for a parking spot down there.
So they're eliminating the parking requirements. That's going to go over well. Here, forget it. I don't know everybody who's involved in the process of this, but they need to get somebody to look at this. I worked with some really good planners back when I used to work for the city, and they were really They were aligned along my ideas of what should have been done, which was underground parking. Like if they were going to build up the commercial districts, not to lower parking requirements, but to give them an extra 4 stories above commercial, but create parking garage or underneath parking.
Yeah.
Where it's subterranean, and they could add spots under the building instead of on the street. And with the elimination of parking altogether, that's a little dicey. I don't know if that's going to work out.
Yeah. I don't know. It's already so hard to get parking on my block alone. So.
Yeah, but your neighborhood, just picture, not to say where your neighborhood is, but
yeah.
but that area is tough.
Yeah.
And like if someone has a party,
yeah.
So like you have a summer party and like if people come over, like in your neighborhood, like
it's hard to find
there's
parking.
double parking and everything else, right?
Yeah.
It's like in some neighborhoods like that. Some of these low density areas can see. It's a lot of things that really need to be addressed with that. It's okay, Don. We're wrapping this up.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's what we have. So the city of yes is saying a lot of yes to a lot of stuff. I don't. Not to say there's parts of it that you can endorse and there's parts of it that you can't. I just think the parking requirement thing here in lower density areas, some areas could hack it better than others, but it definitely needs to be much more pinpoint as to where those locations would be and how it would be addressed before. But I believe it's going to be, they're voting on it the 6th of December. So when they finish that, I think that I think they're going to vote it up. I think it's going to happen. I don't see. I think the local local council members here are opposed to it. I think there's one in Queens, and I don't think that for the rest of the council there's anything standing in the way of this. So I do expect this to pass. You're going to see you're definitely going to see this being implemented. And how it looks, let's just hope it doesn't look like anything around the parking facility, the parking ability around Staten Island University Hospital. Because if that's the plan, guys, we're in trouble.
Oh no.
That was one of the most ill-conceived ideas. This is bureaucracy at work. I'm like, what bureaucrat thought this up? Think of this.
No, I remember seeing a post about it in the Staten Island.
The most ridiculous thing, and that's the thing that scares me about this whole entire thing. Is like, how do you get that so wrong?
Yeah.
And then expect it's like, oh yeah, we have this idea. It's like, geez, that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's an idea coming out of a farm that grows very unusual fruit.
Oh no.
It's like, if that's the idea farm, we need to.
No, yeah.
Maybe it's the fertilizer. I don't know. But it's definitely not the best, conceived ideas.
No.
But anyway, that's our Friday night, guys. We hope you have a wonderful, if you have a question regarding this plan or anything else, please leave a little slot in a little comment in the section.
Yep.
YouTube. Which things do they need to follow?
So please follow us on YouTube. We actually just hit over 2,000 subscribers. So follow us on there. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, X. We have it all.
Oh, the neighborhood one. What's that?
Oh, yes. Next door.
He's got Dom's holding up the 2000 sign.
Yes.
You want to come in here and put it on?
Yeah, come on in, Dom. 2000.
2000, guys. That's our subscribers on YouTube. Yes. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week with Stats for New Jersey on Wednesday, on the eve of Thanksgiving.
Yes.
All right. So have a great weekend, guys. Be safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good night.
Good night.